I think I'm going to call this Give Your Heart a Break. Can't start this video. Shit. I haven't really been felt like filming recently. I've kind of realised that since January I've been rejected 4 times, and people that follow me like a lot and they've been following me a while will know that I went through some kind of rejection in January with someone that I was chatting to a long time, and I was kind of getting over that and I was feeling like fine. And then I kind of met someone else that I was chatting to, and I really thought things were going to be different, and I've promised this person not to talk about them, so I'm not going to talk about them on the channel. But I had like a second rejection, and I literally thought something would happen with this person, but for various reasons it didn't happen. And then I was rejected by someone else, and then most recently my office crush didn't want to get with me. So since January I've had 4 consecutive rejections by people, and these are like what I call actual rejections. These aren't just Tinder rejections where I've sent them a message on Tinder and they haven't replied. These are actual real life rejections. It's made me not want to really film anything and be creative because I've been in a bit of a funk. I was getting back into old habits of swinging between using like food to like soothe those feelings, which I've talked about before, whereas using food as a coping mechanism, and I could recognize that kind of behavior where I was like eating chocolate to feel better. Luckily I didn't put on any weight that I've lost, but plateaued for what feels like ages with my weight loss, and it's because I was starting to use food again, and I really thought that I'd got over my using food to help with my depression, but it seems that I can still slip into that. So that's what I've been really working on recently, is to not think that a bar of dairy milk is gonna like solve my problems. And it doesn't really help when you watch motivational content where it just says that the hard times all make it worth it in the end, because in that moment it doesn't help. When you face rejection doesn't make you stronger, it just makes you depressed. And these kind of real life rejections have like really hit me hard, because I want to be the type of person that it doesn't affect. I want to be the type of person that can just ask someone out, and if they don't want to be with me then it's fine. But the truth is, if I do ask someone out and they don't want to be with me, I just internalise it. It always comes back to me not feeling pretty enough for someone, or not being thin enough for someone, or me not being cool enough for someone because I'm not the person that likes drinking or whatever. It always comes back to that kind of internal place of what is wrong with me, why doesn't someone like me, why don't they fancy me? And I'm literally in a catch-22 where I don't get approached by men, so the only option for me is to approach men because men aren't approaching me. So I either sit there and wait for men to approach me and nothing's happened, or I go out there and approach men not knowing what their physical type is, and then I inevitably suffer rejection, because realistically the only way I will meet someone is probably through work, or literally if someone DMs me. That is literally how I'm probably going to meet someone. I don't think I'm going to meet someone like being out and about with my friends. I have kind of downloaded Tinder again, and as and when I'll go on it, but as I've said before, the people on Tinder aren't looking to get married. The people on Tinder want sex, so it's a complete waste of time. I don't really go on it a lot, and I rarely like match with people because I don't swipe right to a lot of people because they just want sex. So what's the point? And their bios aren't filled out. they can't even be asked to verify their profile. So with that, I can tell that there's no intention to actually find someone, because they can't be asked to verify their profile, and I can't even tell if they're real or not. So I don't even really go on the apps anymore. I kind of feel like the apps have had their day, and I feel that if men do use them, it's to just waste time. And someone in my comment section left a really good point actually. They were saying that a lot of people that use apps are actually in prison, because men in prison will obviously have a lot of time to waste, and these kind of men, they're obviously not going to be going on dates because they're in prison, and they're just gonna use that time to like swipe, talk to girls, ask for pictures, and not ask them out. So I actually thought that was a really good point that I didn't think of. But the people on apps have no intention for a relationship. They don't want to find commitment. So me going on apps is going to be wasting my time anyway. So that's why I concentrated on meeting people through work, and it's just awkward because people don't really want to go out with people that they work with in case it doesn't work out. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't like to mix business with pleasure, as they say. They like to keep work separate, and they don't really want to date a co-worker in case it goes wrong. So I was focusing on real world interactions really, thinking, well, these people in the real world, they can see my personality, they can see what my body looks like, they can see how I interact with other people. Maybe, I don't know, in hindsight, I should have given it more of a slow burn, and I keep over analysing on how I approached my office crush and beating myself up about it and thinking like I went in too quickly and it should have been a more organic approach. But it's kind of done now, and if they wanted to be with me, they would have responded regardless. So I'm trying to, as they say, not be as hard on myself and give myself a break and kind of see that it wasn't meant to be, which is frustrating. But it's so easy to just, for people to just literally put out content that's like, rejection's part of life, because you still have to go through those feelings. And how can you brush off rejection if you literally approach people in real life and they say no? How can you not internalize that and feel that there's something wrong with you? How is that even possible? Now you know what it's like to be a man. But it's not a gender thing, it's a human thing. Rejection, it is a human thing, and I think the only thing you can do is, the more that you're exposed to it, the easier it hopefully becomes. But in the meantime, you're just going to feel a bit crap. But I think the only way to get out of it is, what I'm doing is just focusing on my work and being creative and myself, and not focusing so much on the dating, more of a mindset of if it happens, it happens. Maybe I've been trying too hard and keep approaching men, and maybe I should just sit back a bit. I struggle to sit back because I'm a Sagittarius. We literally get the bow and arrow out, and if we see something we want, we go and get it. So it's just difficult. This is the one part of my life I can't control. I can control everything else, but I can't control this one part of my life. And that's what I just struggle so much with dating, is letting go of the control, because I can't control how another person reacts to me, if another person likes me or not. And that's what I really struggle with the most, is that I just can't control it. It's just literally up to fate.